value isn't universal. So it's more contextual and that it can vary significantly from market to market. And I think since then I've embraced co-creation. So we still start with that global framework, but we validate and adapt it with local teams. So it's more about understanding which solutions truly solve customer challenges and then which aspects of our offer create meaningful value.
Welcome back to Copperberg Conversations on Manufacturing Matters. I'm your host, Nina Roper Yearwood from Copperberg. Today, I'm joined by Coralie Bordeaux to dive into value strategy within a global industrial company. Coralie is a visionary and results-driven marketing professional with over 14 years of experience in multinational organizations. Currently serving as the global marketing lead for value propositions at ABB's Electrification business area, Coralie has been instrumental in implementing value creation methodologies across the divisions, facilitating the transition to a customer-centric go-to-market strategy. Her expertise spans B2B marketing, project management, and strategic development, with a proven track record in managing complex global projects and leading cross-functional teams. She has a passion for driving positive change and innovations by incorporating best in class marketing frameworks and tools. She's also an active member of peer communities and a regular at Copperberg events, which makes her the perfect guest for today's discussion. Coralie, welcome. Great to have you today.
Hi, Nina. Great to be here, actually, and really looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah, so to start off, could you just describe in a nutshell what ABB Electrification is?
Oh, in a nutshell. Okay, sure. This is always a really tricky one to sum up because ABB is just so big and broad, and our ABB Electrification business offers a wide-ranging portfolio. So we are active in so many areas that it's really hard to capture all in short, but I will try for you. At ABB Electrification, we develop technologies that keep power flowing in a safe and smart way, whether that is circuit breakers in your homes, EV energy management software, digital solutions or services for entire cities. So we really help people and businesses to use electricity more efficiently and sustainably every day. We're also helping power the digital world, so with solutions that keep data centers running. I hope that gives a bit of sense what we do and how broad our impact really is.
Yes, it is indeed very broad, keeps the world running. Coralie, could you tell us a bit about your role within it?
Yeah, so I'm Coralie Bordeaux. I'm the global marketing program lead for value proposition at ABB Electrification. As you mentioned, I'm within B2B marketing for over 14 years now, and I have a very strong focus on value creation, customer-centric strategy, and cross-functional collaboration as well. And these days, I spend a lot of time turning complex offerings into clear and in compelling value propositions so that really work globally but also feel local. So, and besides my very French name, I know sometimes it's hard to pronunciate. I'm actually German and I'm based in Germany, but I do work very closely with colleagues across the continents, and I really do enjoy that. I think that really keeps things dynamic and very diverse, which I like.
Fantastic. We're both based in Germany, so we're enjoying the autumn right now, the autumn season.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for that overview, Carly. Excited to sink my teeth into your role and your journey. I'd like to zoom in now on your role. You lead value proposition, like you mentioned, at ABB Electrification. What does value mean in that context, and how has that definition evolved for you?
Yeah, so at ABB, so value isn't just about features. It's really about the outcomes we help customers to achieve. So it's safety, efficiency, sustainability, and digitalization. So we really help industries to outrun. And over time, I've seen a clear shift from product-centric to customer-centric messaging. So today, value means understanding the customer's world. So their pain points, their goals, and then really aligning our solutions to those. And I think a big part of my role now is really connecting the dots. So between the customer insights, the product capabilities, and also the market needs. So I think where the magic really happens is when we manage to turn complexity into clarity and also to help our customers to do more.
I love how you said value is about outcomes now, and that shift that you're seeing firsthand from product to kind of a more service centric worldview. You've been in this space for more than a decade, right? And from your perspective, what are the biggest shifts in how industrial companies communicate value today?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest shifts for sure is that digital tools and data have made value more measurable. And also, I think customers expect proof these days. So there's a growing need for storytelling and also emotional connection, even in industries and in this technical environment that we're in. And then there's also, again, sustainability. So, well, I think that's also no longer a nice to have. By now, it's really expected. So I think that's the two biggest things I would see are happening right now.
So you've highlighted here digital tools and sustainability are changing the way value is communicated. And then you add into the mix that, of course, for listeners who are probably already familiar with ABB, ABB is global and operates in a wide range of countries. So what resonates in one place might not land the same way in another. I imagine that makes value communication even more complex. So what's your process for aligning global messaging with regional needs, especially in a technical industry like electrification?
Yeah. So definitely challenging. So we normally start with a global value framework. So, but then we empower the local teams to adapt it based on the market maturity, on the regulatory context, and of course also on customer behavior. So for us, localization is really not just translation. So it's really about strategic relevance. So what matters most in one market might be totally different in another. For example, energy efficiency might be key in one region, while then grid reliability is the priority elsewhere. So, in our context, it really means adapting value messaging to reflect local market maturity, regulatory environments, cultural nuances, very important as well, technical relevance, and then also customer priorities. So, I think it's kind of like a co-creative process. So we guide the local teams to rethink not just the language, but the value drivers themselves. So what matters most to customers in that region or country.
There are many elements here that you mentioned. Are there tools or frameworks that you find especially useful?
Yeah, definitely. So we use structured frameworks like value proposition canvases to map customer needs and expectations. Then there's voice of customer insights. I mean, they're really crucial. They help us to validate assumptions and really uncover hidden needs. Then there's a tool I really like that lets us build tailored digital value propositions. So it's a modular messaging based on customer profiles and market data. And we're also exploring internal AI tools, so like prompt libraries, so that we can support teams across the different functions. Because what I think matters most is how we manage to have these tools foster collaboration. So that I think is very powerful.
Can you walk us through your approach to designing a strategy that captures customer value?
Yeah, sure. It always starts with identifying the key customer segments and then understanding what alternatives they're considering. And then we dig into what drives their decisions. So, what they value most, and what outcomes they're trying to achieve. We quantify that impact and then we shape a compelling value proposition. And then once that is in place, we work very closely with the local teams to validate and then also to adapt the messaging. So really making sure it resonates in each market. I think it's a really structured but very collaborative approach. So it really ensures that we are delivering real relevant value to our customers.
Structured and collaborative. Uh, wow, I think in practice that would take a lot. So I want to know now if you can share an example where a local market insight helped shape messaging or positioning more effectively.
Yeah. So actually, I do have a recent example. So not so long ago, it comes from our LATAM region, so Latin American region. We introduced a global developed value proposition that we had worked on quite a long time, and it worked very well in another region. But when we brought it to the local teams in LATAM, it really didn't land as well as expected. So the value drivers didn't resonate. The competitive landscape was totally different. And what was really interesting and valuable for us was that this feedback didn't just lead to, oh, we can't use this. So it really sparked a deeper conversation. And that actually ultimately led to a product repositioning discussion in that market. And I think it reminded us again that value propositions aren't just communication tools. They are more strategic lenses. So when they don't fit, it's often really a sign that something deeper needs to shift.
Very interesting insight. Communication more like as a dynamic way of messaging instead of just a static one size fits all approach. So it really reinforced to me your LATAM story, a recurring theme in your role, which is connecting the dots from within and bringing customers to complete the puzzle. It sounds to me that it takes a lot of cross functional alignment from sales, product, and marketing that you all bring together around a common value story. So, what's helped you align messaging across all these functions involved?
Yeah. So I often say I'm a dot connector, actually. So there's sales, product, marketing, pricing, and we all see different parts of the puzzle. And so my job is really to bring those perspectives together in a clear and compelling story. So I'm kind of like the connecting link between technical and commercial teams. So I do support product managers with the methodology of value-based selling. So really helping them to shift the focus from that features and benefits to customer outcomes and then business value. I think looking at the different functions, you can say that sales brings in the customer voice and the local market insights. And I think they're really essential for relevance. Then you have product management who brings in the innovation. And then marketing, we connect the dots. So we really make sure we deliver actionable value propositions that then our sales teams can confidentially use during customer conversations.
That's a great example of co creation, starting with a framework and then letting local teams shape it. Now, let's talk about your active participation in different communities. So, beyond ABB, you've built a strong network of peers in pricing and marketing. And I really actually personally find it admirable that you're proactive in staying sharp and aware of the industry's conversations and the challenges and opportunities that you guys are wrestling with. So, how does your collaboration shape your thinking when it comes to positioning and communicating value?
So I think peer exchange is kind of like my behind the scenes superpower, maybe. So I regularly connect with different marketing and pricing leaders across the industries. So to really benchmark and brainstorm. And I think it really helps to challenge assumptions and really stay ahead of trends. So I do believe that collaboration is really essential. And I gained so much from peer networks like your Copperberg's Power of 50 events, informal groups of professionals working on value-based selling and pricing. And I think these really helps me to sharpen my thinking, and I actually truly enjoy it.
Is there a conversation or example that helped you see ABB's messaging or brand in a new way?
I think one moment that really changed my perspective on value really came when I was working with a global product manager on a new value proposition. So again, it really looked great on paper, clear benefits, strong numbers. And I think we were very confident it would really help the local teams to sell more. But when we shared it with the regional sales team, they said, well, nice value proposition, but it doesn't work for us. So, okay. So what happened? So the value drivers didn't resonate. The main driver for that customer segment was totally different. Local competitors were stronger than expected. And when we tried to localize the messaging, then the numbers no longer held up. So it kind of like was a turning point. So I realized that value isn't universal. So it's more contextual and that it can vary significantly from market to market. And I think since then, I've embraced co-creation. So we still start with that global framework, but we validate and adapt it with local teams. So by really involving them early, it's more about understanding which solutions truly solve customer challenges and then which aspects of our offer create meaningful value. And of course, always being ready to adapt when the message needs to be adapted.
And how has being part of that community influenced how you yourself show up as a connector, a dot connector, and leader inside ABB?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's really that I'm a connector. So I do like to bring ideas and people together. It has really taught me the importance of perspective. So what works in one market might not in another. And then peer feedback really helps me to navigate that. I do see my role not just as a strategist, but also as a facilitator of shared learning. And I think that's valid for me for inside and outside of ABB.
You've touched on a lot of exciting themes: localization, collaboration, storytelling, and just being part of a community and constantly learning through your interactions with your peers in and out of ABB. So, looking ahead, what areas of value proposition strategy or customer engagement are you most curious to explore next?
Yeah, interesting questions. I think these days I'm fascinated really how AI can personalize value messaging at scale. So really without compromising how true it feels to the customer. And I think I'm also very interested in embedding sustainability metrics into value propositions in a really credible, data driven way. So it's not just about saying, oh, we're sustainable, but it's really about showing measurable impact.
So, if someone listening today is working on value proposition in a complex global organization, what's one principle or mindset that served you well?
So I think I would say look for patterns and connections. So across teams, markets, different customer segments, and then really connecting the dots because I think it really helps to uncover insights others might miss. Um, and then always stay curious and flexible because my experience really the best value propositions come from listening carefully and then thinking holistically. So what works in one place might not in another. And that's why anchoring everything around the customer pain points, I think, is so powerful. It really makes your message not just relevant, but really compelling.
Listen carefully and think holistically. Such an important nugget to take note of. Coralie, your perspective gives us a grounded and inspiring view of what it means to lead pricing from the inside out and making it visible. For listeners who want to get in touch with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested in connecting, if you want to discuss the complex world of value messaging, I mean, feel free to connect on LinkedIn and more than open to keep the conversation going.
Fantastic. Like Coralie said, let's keep the conversation going. You can get in touch with her on LinkedIn. Just look for her there. We'll also add the link to her profile on the show notes. So, with that, Coralie, thank you so much once again for sharing your journey and your perspective.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me, Nina.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please like or follow us from wherever you're tuning in from. Got a topic you'd love us to cover next time? Or maybe you're itching to share your own insights as a guest? Drop us a line at podcast@copperberg.com. We'd love to hear from you. This is Copperberg Conversations on Manufacturing Matters. Until next time.